large counties, as we've talked and tried to find a presenter to do this section with the large counties, you guys, I mean, you've got it pretty well under control. You know you have to comply with the act. The act is pretty clear in most areas. It only leaves a couple of fill in the blanks for you where you have policy decision to make. Just make sure that your policy decision makers are making those decisions and that they're adopting it. I think we'll just skip covering it for the large counties for today. Are you guys okay with that? Because again, you guys, and I know that Davis, Utah, Washington, you guys talk with each other when you run across something that's a problem. You call us and we talk with others, so I think we're in pretty good shape there. What I want to talk about and move ahead into, so that we can get ahead of schedule, if everybody's okay with that, is kind of what the different resources are. One of the questions that I get regularly, and I know Mark got all the time when he was providing HR assistance for USIP, you guys recognize something in your policy that needs to be updated, so you draft something or you give the old policy with some markings on it or questions in the sidelines to the county attorney's office. County attorney's office calls us. It says, what are other counties doing in this area? What do we need to stay away from things? So that whole area of just helping to network and get ideas and share samples of what good policy looks like, what policy language counties have had trouble with, and which one, what language has really worked for them, is one of the things that most counties need at some point or another. And so that's one area that we want to really look at expanding on, and the first step in that was expanding and using the HR hotline with Kristen, so that that's a little bit further down the road when the policy really hasn't worked, and now you're in that position of you found the section in your policy that you really didn't understand what it said, and your employee understands what it says better than you do. And now you're taking an action that you think might end up in court, and so you call Kristen and she helps you out with that. So that's one of the things, but I just wanted to round out the workshop and get you on the road, is just to make sure that everybody is reminded and understands the different resources that you do have available to you, because it's easy to forget sometimes that there's people out there that are waiting and ready to help you. And we'll start in the first area is the training HR resources that you've got available to you. As you know, with the safety area, the Workers' Compensation Fund, for most of you are in the Workers' Compensation Fund program through USIP, joint purchase program, where we buy one policy for all of you, so that you get huge benefits and discounts as a result of that. So for those of you who do that, you've got all the safety training and inspections, both on-site. I know that the safety people with Workers' Comp Fund come out to you early in the year, each year, and develop your specific training and inspection program for you. They're visiting each county at least 4 times a year, depending on your needs. And so be sure that you're making good use of that, and their website. I mean, their website has an enormous amount of training, online training and training samples, things that you can, in the can training sessions that you can hand to your supervisor and have them do the training in an area if you've got a problem in the department, as well as just calling them up and having them come out and do it. They've also got we listed on our hotline, they've got an Ask a Safety Consultant hotline that you can call, and if you have a safety question, what would OSHA say about this situation type question, you can call them and they'll provide you answer from a certified safety professional. To supplement that, USIP also purchases for every member membership in the Utah Safety Council. Again, a huge resource of all different types of safety training that is, again, in the can. Lots of stuff online that you can utilize and web-based training. They also do regular training throughout the state. Most of it is in Salt Lake, but they also do regular training in St. George and Richfield. Because of our relationship, because we have this, we're one of their larger clients now by purchasing in block for all the counties. Utah Safety Council, first of all, they discount all of their training beyond the membership level for USIP counties. So where you see a Utah Safety Council training session, you'll see their regular price of like $400 and a membership price of maybe $200. They also provide an additional discount on those training sessions for USIP members, so it'll be less than all the other Utah Safety Council members. That's why you've created us, is to use that interlocal buying power to be able to have things like that. They've also offered that if there are specific areas of safety training that need to be done that's specific to counties that wouldn't be specific to some of their other clients. You know, the mining industry is a big participant in Utah Safety Council. Puts a lot of money into them, asks for a lot from them, so you'll see they do a lot of mining safety training, but they're willing to create specialized county safety training for us if we identify it for them. They're also willing to set up specific training in your area. So, you know, if Joe and Vernal, when you want to do they've got a great safety training session that you want to do, but you can't afford to send your department heads to Salt Lake to do it. If we can put enough butts in the seat, they'll come out and do it for you. And that might mean for some of the smaller counties to ask in the city people or some of the businesses in your area, but how good is that? You're sharing safety training with the people, your constituents in the community. So don't forget that that's available, and we'll get that set up. In addition to those two partners that we have, you know, USIP does training on its own with our staff. I've picked up and have done more and more of the training that Mark used to do for us at USIP. Jeremy specifically talked about the sexual harassment training that you should be doing once a year. And I think that that's definitely something, and I saw some of you looking at each other like, once a year? Yeah. How would we ever get that done? I've been doing the training, have kept it up to date. I do it in two different parts. There's two different training sessions that are there. One for employees and one for supervisors. Because the supervisors have some very different responsibilities due to the Supreme Court case a couple of years ago related to the liability for supervisors that are involved in sexual harassment. So I do those separately. The other thing with the supervisor training is that the hope is that I can train your supervisors to do the sexual harassment training for their employees, because that's the way it's going to get done best. So not only do I provide the sexual harassment training for both employees and supervisors, but I've just recently developed a training session on training skills to train your supervisors on how to put together a training session and feel comfortable in training their employees. Because let's face it, a lot of them are not comfortable getting up in front of their employees and trying to do a training session. You know, we've got the RAP program that some of you have been involved in over the years, and that's part of our best practices risk management manual now. That it's you know, 70 or 80 in the can training sessions for your supervisors to just pick up off the shelves and do training on everything from fire extinguisher use to high-speed pursuit. I mean, very broad range of training that's available. We just need to make sure that your supervisors are comfortable with doing that. And if all your department heads are comfortable in doing the sexual harassment training, it's pretty easy to get it done once a year. So that's our goal, is to get them to that point. The other training that I've been conducting quite a bit recently is training for your risk management, on the risk management process for people who are involved in that. And again, a lot of counties are starting to really recognize that HR is not a position. HR is something that needs to flow throughout the entire county. Every department and every employee needs to be at some level involved in the risk management of the county, and particularly the department heads. So to do that training for your department heads on what the risk management process is and how they follow through it, and just the way that you need to think when you're facing a risk management question. A new program that's coming to the department, a new obligation that the legislature has created for you, and how do you go through that critical thinking process of determining how do I minimize the risk to our county and still implement this new program. So we'll do that for you. A lot of counties have utilized risk committees over the years. Years ago, we introduced that as part of the best management, best practices program with USIP. And so a lot of counties created risk management programs or risk management committees. What we're finding is a lot of them have deteriorated into the auto accident cops, and they meet on a regular basis and review all the automobile accidents and try and figure out who's going to get the spanking and who's at fault. And it's not as constructive as a risk management committee should be. If they're an accident review committee, which is a good thing to have, then they should be reviewing those accidents to determine the root causes and making sure that accident doesn't happen again. Not necessarily just who's to blame. Was the employee at fault, and how do we discipline them? That is not as constructive as finding the root cause. Did the accident happen? Yeah, the employee may have been at fault, but was it because of lack of training? Let's get the training taken care of. That's more important than the discipline for that employee, in my mind. So that's another training that I've been doing quite a bit. And if you think that your risk committee could use some help in their vision and what they should be doing as a group, let me know. I'll even bring the donuts. Okay? And of course, just other areas as needed. Joe recently had put together a really great session for his supervisors on just supervisor leadership skills, and asked me to come out and do some additional training in that area. And we'll build it on the fly. Again, we're here to help you better manage the HR area. If that means that we put together a new training session for you, we'll certainly do that. So let me know what you need, and we'll get it put together for you. Beyond the training, we've also over the years provided quite a bit of consulting assistance in the HR area. Just general questions on HR that a lot of the smaller counties in particular have, to compliance questions. Sometimes your policy, again, hasn't kept up to date with all the different areas within the statutes that have a component that goes back to what you have to do from an HR perspective. A lot of things that you'd never think about until you're faced with the situation, that we can assist you in scouring the statutes and helping you try and make sure that you're in compliance, that you're in compliance with your own policy. That's really important. But if you don't know about this new statute that just got passed 3 or 4 years ago, you haven't considered the ramifications to your policy, Because we've been really good over the years as USIP about telling you when you need to update your policy. You know, Mark told you about the areas that you needed to update your policies in yesterday. But we don't take that next step of showing you how to make that change to your policy and at least giving you something to work with. I myself, I'm a good editor. I love when people bring me something and I get to take the red pen and mark it. Give me a blank page and I'm lost. It's really hard to do that. So our hope is to move forward a little bit in that area and not just tell you to update your policies, but get you started on developing the policies. You know, the county attorneys group has made it very clear to me that they're willing to work together as a group to assist in that process as well, so that we make sure that we get that legal background as we do that. So we'll look at doing that. The other consulting that we do all the time is, you know, I get the call, do you know what other counties are doing with this? And you know, we developed over the years a really good file of sample county policies from many of you over the years, and so we can look to what the other county policies say and how they work, and you know, do your own networking. Absolutely, that's part of why we have this conference, so that you can meet each other, get your phone numbers, network. But when you're in the rush and you need some help in getting the answer of what are other counties doing, don't hesitate to call USIP, and we'll check and see what your neighbors and those across the state are doing in that same area to help you identify what's best for you. And then again, the HR hotline. If you think you may be headed towards litigation, don't hesitate to pick up the phone and call Kristen. It has saved us from so many claims, and a lot of times it's just a little thing that you would have forgotten about that makes all the difference. That, you know, there's one step in that disciplinary policy, or one step in the progressive, or in the review of the termination procedures that you have, that you are skipping, and because Kristen reviewed it and made sure that you followed your own policy correctly, we get to court and it's out on summary judgment. The couple $1,000s that I've spent for that hotline call compared to what we would have spent doing depositions and going to trial is a great thing for us. So don't ever hesitate to use the HR hotline. There's also some other resources available to you through UAC. You know, over the years, UAC's been doing the compensation surveys to help you judge where you are at with the other counties as far as compensation goes. And as I've discussed that with Jill, you know, that's an area that it's been pretty light. We'd like to make that a little bit more robust as we go forward, to make it more useful for you, because some counties really rely on that, would really like to have more information about the total compensation package that other counties are providing to their employees, not just salary. So we can, you know, that's an area that UAC's been doing, and we're looking to make it more robust, like I say. The other thing that most recently was added was the job listings. I don't know how many of you have been using the job listing site on the UAC website, but free service, good place to list your jobs. You might steal a good employee from one of your neighbors, but you know, it's a great place, I think, to list those jobs. And you're finding people that want to work in county government by posting your jobs there. There's a handout actually on the back table on that, if that's something that you hadn't heard about. The e-groups, how many of you have used the UAC e-group for HR? A couple of you? Good. That's one that initially I signed up for and was watching to make sure that if there was something that I could reply to. But then a while back they switched so that you had to go in and say you want to be part of the e-group, or you didn't get the email anymore, so I'm re-signing up for that. But for those of you who haven't used it, that is something that UAC's looking again to really make a push on and promote. That it's out there in all areas, not just HR, but county attorneys. You have an e-group spot to go in and ask other county attorneys through UAC. You know, I'm faced with this situation. Has anybody else out there dealt with it and can help me out with it? So see that and start using that. I think that's a great way to help get those networking questions asked. And then the unemployment program that UAC introduced several years ago, that if you have, part of what the program does is provide you that legal assistance to go through the unemployment procedures, that you've got an employee that you terminated for cause, and there's no reason for them to get unemployment, but of course they're testing that, they're questioning it, and the program will provide that legal assistance to make sure that the county is well represented in that unemployment dispute, which can save you quite a bit of money as unemployment continually is extended, and then extended some more, and then extended some. So make use of that. And here with me to help out with what the UAC services are is Jill Brown. And Jill's accountant with UAC, but since she's my neighbor now, just down the hall, I've certainly learned that she wears a lot of other hats. She is the HR person for the UAC staff. She oversees management of the multi-county appraisal program there, MCAT at UAC. And Jill, why don't you come on up? Because what I wanted Jill to talk about today is the expansion of UAC's resources in the HR area for a UAC HR support specialist.
Great. Well, Johnny, or Yusuf, and UAC have been working pretty closely together. Last year when Adam became CEO in June, we decided that we really wanted to find out what the counties wanted. We didn't want to shove things down your throat and offer some maybe deferred compensation program that absolutely no one was really interested in. So we came up with about 25 ideas to present to our board about things that we've been hearing that the counties would like to have assistance with. And one of those things that we felt were a top priority in investigating were HR service supports. So Adam put together a team of Johnny Miller, Brandy Grace with Miller County, me with UAC, and Adam himself. We went to the USAC committee meeting in September and presented the option to the commissioners of UAC sending out a survey or delving deeper into requested needs for this. So we took it to our board in November and they said, yes, please send out a survey, see if the counties want this service and if it would be helpful to them. So the four of us put together a survey, and some of you, if not a lot of you, received the survey in the first part of April. And we sent the survey to the commissioners, the clerks, auditors, and HR directors. And we received quite a bit of feedback. And for those of you who didn't receive the survey, the topics we included on the survey were payroll services, employee benefits, county employment policies, employee job descriptions, employee performance issues, regulated benefits, employee compensation, employee training and safety, and volunteer program administration. We received enough feedback that we felt like no one would, at this point, there wasn't a significant need for assistance with payroll or employee benefits. But all of the other areas, we received feedback that we would probably like to use some help, some support in those resources. Johnny, do you want to tell them kind of what we mean as far as support goes, not taking over as an HR person, but hiring somebody?
Yeah, I think, again, the idea is not to replace HR within the individual counties. You all operate differently, you all have different policies because you all have very different commissioners that set policy. And so you will all have to run your own HR department in your own fashion, but you know, to provide a level of assistance with that, I think the best way to describe this for this group is most of you, except for the very new people, most of you did work with Mark Brady while he was at USIP and relied on Mark to assist you, if nothing else, is just a sounding board on HR issues, and provide some training and be able to research statutes and contact other counties and review other counties' policies and stuff. And at this point, USIP does not have that position. And as Adam and I talked about this, it's a very broad service that, yes, it does reduce the amount of liability for USIP for HR type claims. But at the same time, UAC, Adam is looking for ways to expand the reach of UAC beyond legislation and to really become an organization that assists counties in better managing their county and wants to do more information, education, support services. And so as we've talked about this, he felt a really strong desire to be part of that, and rather than just having USIP put in place a new loss control specialist who would have some experience in the HR area and be able to provide some level of assistance there, is to really just bring in an HR specialist that is there for you guys to utilize as your joint HR person to help out and give advice and assistance. And so that is really what we're talking about, is replacing, and I hate to say it, Mark, but upgrading.
Oh, it finally comes to that.
What you all utilized with Mark, and having that available as a most likely a UAC employee that's receiving and help being provided expertise and technical assistance from USIP to make sure that they know what areas they really need to understand and get that from USIP and be a service to you.
How many of you actually received the survey in here? If you received the survey and maybe looked through it or filled it out, we would like to send the survey out again after this meeting to see if we can explain a few of our objectives more clearly, and if you feel differently about some of the services that we're looking to provide you after we talk during this meeting. Do we want to go on? Yeah. I was kind of thinking, if you haven't had a chance to look at the survey, if I just tell you employee performance issues, we had 5 or 7, a few items underneath that detailed what aspects of that I could use help in or be resourceful. I don't know.
Yes,
Sorry.
some of those things, again, you know, some of you have really good job descriptions, job safety analysis, things like that you're very confident and comfortable in. Some of you have ones that you've had, but you're not sure if they're as good as they should be, and some of you just don't have them. I mean, they're very limited. And if counties are going to be upgrading and reviewing these things, from my perspective, looking at trying to defend you in court, the more consistency that there is throughout not just your county, but throughout the state, the easier it is for us to defend you in court when the question is asked, well, why is your defendant doing this when the plaintiff is saying that every other county does it another way? Now you're on the defensive trying to explain why you do it differently. So again, you all need to be different in some ways, but the more consistency that we can create, the better. And so that, again, having somebody at UAC that you can, when you're updating a policy, or, you know, job descriptions is one of them that I think a lot of people, as I'm out doing these other types of training, they say, we really need to do better with our job descriptions. They're not as detailed as they should be. They haven't been updated for a while. So to have someone at UAC that really understands how to do a job description, could, you know, review your job descriptions, come out, maybe meet with you and see the person do the work and develop the job description, develop job safety analysis in those high hazard type positions within the county and things like that. And I know a lot of you do that, but is there anybody that can't use more help? And that's all we're talking about, is more help, and not having each one of you. And the request, quite frankly, there were several commissioners in small counties that aren't here because they don't have the budget to send their people who wear the HR hat here. It's too much for them. They really need help. And so, you know, that's where the initial requests came from. But as the discussion went on, I think more and more of the larger counties and certainly the districts and things like that have realized that they can use more help. To have somebody that is an expert not only in HR but county HR, I think is something that I hear people asking for. But again, we are your organizations. You know, we're here simply to serve the county. So if there are concerns, let's talk about them now. If there's areas that you absolutely need us to stay away from, let's discuss that and make sure that we're not headed down the wrong road. Anything, class? You're all.
Another example that we could use is when Johnny tells you, oh, you need to update your policies, and then you don't have the resources at that time to update your policies. We're hoping to maybe have a bank of policies that everyone can turn to, and when a policy is updated, it kind of is updated for everyone once you grab it out of the bank service. And at this point, we don't really know what we're going to do. We don't know who we would hire. We don't know how many people we would hire. We don't know if we'll hire them or contract them. We really need some feedback as far as really which of these items you really need help in and which ones we can get started first for you.
You guys are looking really burned out today. I felt for Pat because you guys were not as engaged as yesterday. We should have brought the Cowboys back this time. But are you comfortable with it, or are you excited about it?
I'm excited.
Okay, all right. I didn't see that.
No, we are really excited about it.
Taking copious notes.
Yeah.
Great. And we want you guys involved in this process. We don't want to move ahead and put it together and bring it out to you. So please.
And you said you've got a list of the things that you want, or are you wanting that from us? So, I mean, we kind of gave you a list that you act, of some of the ideas that you kind of like. So you say you've got a list of things that you're wanting to start right now, or?
Yeah, based on the survey results, we're looking at, you know, the areas that people said they would utilize the most or need the most help in. Those are the areas, that's what we'll focus on in hiring the person and starting the services. And we'll go from there and see if when that person gets started, they're getting a lot of questions in this area that we hadn't, you know, that didn't draw a lot of interest when the original survey was done. We'll move forward with that. Again, it's about helping you better manage the county, because that is the new UAC goal, is to help you better manage, not just better legislate. And it's absolutely USIP's goal is to have you, because if you're better managed, Corby gets to take more time off.
That's true.
And that's what we're after. We'd love to have no claims and just be doing risk management all day long. That would be awesome. I mean, we've already made great strides. I talked to, my peers across the country and the other executive directors of the other pools here in Utah and stuff. I mean, especially like in the sheriff's area, the sheriffs in other counties or in other states cannot believe how few claims we have here in Utah. Absolutely can't believe it. They can't believe how few HR claims we have here as a county group in Utah. And I think a lot of that is due to you guys taking the time to show up here, to call Kristen, to call me, and to work together to better manage your HR. And so, to round out the day, thank you so much. I know that your budgets are limited, and I appreciate that you take that piece of it that you need to come here each year and be here for this workshop. And again, we're just looking to be as efficient as possible in providing you the assistance you need to get your jobs done. So with that, don't forget your surveys. Your job is for everybody to give at least one item that you want to see on the agenda next year. And then we'll have a really good workshop again next year. So with that, yeah.
I just wanted to add really quickly, I brought a few of our directories with me if anybody is interested in having one of these. We also have just about finished developing the app for our directory. And I would like to know if anyone is interested in us adding more contact information. So we'll have, just a few other administrative positions in the county that are listed. But I also want to offer, we can add more employees' names if you would like on the app. So let me know if you're interested in that. And then also I put a handout in the back for our unemployment program. If anyone's interested in that, I'd be happy to meet with you at your county or give you more information on that. Currently we have 10 counties that participate in it, and I know Johnny has a watchful eye on you guys, and you do a great job with your unemployment, but it's just to help you with your claims, and I feel like it's a pretty valuable resource that we offer the counties, and it's relatively inexpensive. It's about 2.5 cents for $100 on payroll right now. So anyway, if anyone's interested in that, let me know, and I'll be back there and give you the direction if you'd like them.
Yeah, that's a great program. For those of you who haven't dealt with an unemployment contest recently, you can do your job really, really well, and you are still going to lose. You've got to have those experts there making your case for those administrative law judges, or you will pay those unemployment benefits 99% of the time. And those of you that are experienced are shaking your heads. That is the way it works. So if you don't run into it very often, look at the program, because when you get there, you'll want to have it. Great. Safe travels home, everyone. Thank you again.